We've seen a bit of everything. We've seen absolute decimation, we've seen destruction, and we have seen miracles left and right. Over the last 14 days, we've probably had close to, just at our location, maybe 500 different volunteers come through. And we have seen American of every shape, color, creed, and size helping every other American, which is what America is supposed to be. There's two big fears that we have. The biggest fear right now is that when all this is over, Western North Carolina becomes a footnote. And we don't want that. We don't want that for anybody that's left behind after a disaster, holding the bag, trying to rebuild everything that they've lost. And the second fear is that we won't have an opportunity to have a real conversation about the after action of what took place in order for us to understand how we can use a combination of both private sector and public sector funding and efforts to have effective, efficient actions on the ground, to make it more mobile and more agile, but more importantly, to re-inject capital back into the local economy. So this is my question. The first thing I'd like to ask is this. Will you and President Trump promise to not forget Western North Carolina if you win the election?
We will never forget Western North Carolina. That's right.
And I don't doubt that you won't. I do not doubt. The second question I think is more important. The second question is, when can we sit down and have a real legitimate conversation about overhauling the process of disaster relief in the United States?
Amen.
And understanding,
Amen. Yeah.
if I may, understanding that the bureaucratic process of red tape that we have to cut through in order to get the funding directly to the people who need it most is just simply takes too long. It's not the fault of any individual agency or the federal government. There's a lot of...
Just a second, man. We okay? Kamala Harris built this platform behind us. That's what happened. We did okay, ma'am? We good?
You can have my chair if you want.
Good. Go ahead, sir.
The question is, can we have a conversation about revamping a national disaster strategy so that we can utilize retired veterans and special operations personnel who have been leading the charge hands down in Western North Carolina and effectively provided food, supplies, and medical aid and assistance to thousands and thousands of lives, and revamping the national disaster strategy in the United States so that we can make it more effective?
Yeah, man, that's a big question, an important question. Let me just say, I want to reiterate, Donald Trump and I know that the Appalachian region of our country, Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, East Kentucky, West Virginia, Southwest Virginia, has been left behind and forgotten, and we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it in response to this disaster, and we're never going to let the people of that region of our country, the region really built our country, we're never going to let them be left behind or forgotten. I promise that to you, man. And let me just say about the disaster response. First of all, I want to thank you all for everything that you did, and I want to thank all the private relief agencies, the charities, Good Samaritans, who did their job and took care of their fellow Americans. God bless you guys. We should all be proud of them, and it would have been a lot worse without them. And look, I think now that hopefully we're moving to the stage where we're trying to rebuild as opposed to just recover. And I know we're still recovering a little bit, and that's an unfortunate tragedy here. But I think once we get past that, hopefully the next few days, where we've gotten everybody and saved everybody that we can save, then it's time to focus on the disastrous federal response to this incredible crisis. And I think what I've learned is look, 2 days, you have the hurricane. Western North Carolina is underwater. What should have happened is that the president and the vice president should have sent the 82nd Airborne to Western North Carolina that day, and it should have happened right away. And instead, of course, we had a president at the beach and a vice president at a fundraiser in San Francisco. What you need in times like this is you just need leadership. Because I think, sir, you put it so well. It's not any one agency, and there are a lot of people working on the federal effort who are doing a good job, or at least is doing as good as they can. The problem is all the bureaucratic incompetence. And I was actually talking with Elon Musk about this a few days ago. I mean, Elon, by the way, was like a center-left Democrat 4 years ago. Now he's got a dark MAGA hat, right? On that you didn't talk about a guy who's pissed off about government incompetence. It's Elon Musk. But I think what happened is, look, you've got the FAA, you've got FEMA, you've got all these relief agencies, and you've got people who have been trained by the government bureaucracy that their job is not to cut the BS and help people, it's to basically act like the DMV, right? And unfortunately, what that means in this case is you've got a lot of people who could have been helped, a lot of lives that could have been saved that weren't. And there's a lot of details to figure out. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about how corrupt and incompetent our government is. But I think the most important thing here is we try to get to the bottom of how we had such a massive failure. And I'm sorry, think about this. In 2010, the terrible earthquake in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, the 82nd Airborne was there 2 days later. 2 days later. The 82nd Airborne is an hour away from Western North Carolina, and it took 6 days to get them there. That doesn't happen without a failure of leadership. We got to get to the bottom of exactly what that failure of leadership looked like. And the final thing I'll say, sir, is the only way to fix this is by accountability. It's true in the private sector. It's true in the public sector. If you don't have accountability, in other words, if you don't fire the people who screwed up, it's never going to get better. And what is fundamentally what's fundamentally different about the leadership style of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is Donald Trump, I mean, hell, he got famous saying, "You're right." He believes in accountability in our government. Kamala Harris just doesn't. I think it's this attitude of go along to get along, of, yeah, you screwed up, maybe you got people killed, but we're not going to fire you. That's not going to do good for our people in the 21st century. And I want to say just one final thing. When I see you, and it sounds like you guys are pilots, you guys were helping get relief resources.
These guys are all pilots. The guys that are here.
I just want to say, man, I want to be the kind of vice president where you feel like I have your back and that I haven't left you behind. And I know that Donald Trump wants to be the kind of president that'll always have your back and never leave you behind. We are so proud of you. We're so grateful for you, and we're going to fight for you in the White House. God bless you guys. Thank you. Thanks for the question, man.
That's what it is to be an American. That's what it is to be an American. Our next question comes from Gene.
First, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And thank you for being that public official who knows how to answer a question.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you.
I am from North Carolina, and my question regards illegal immigration. Last week, we learned that 13,000 murderers came across our border illegally. What is the plan to deport these awful criminals?
Yes, ma'am. The plan, to put it simply, is we got to send them home. We got to send them home ASAP, and that's exactly what we're going to do. They have no right to be in this country. And you know, it's funny because the media, which for 3.5 years has refused to even cover the terrible problems of Kamala Harris's open border, will now say things like, well, how are you going to deport people? You know, it's just way too hard to deport people. It's actually not hard to deport people. You just got to have competent administration that's willing to send people back to where they belong and not let them collect benefits in our country. And ma'am, I really think that unless we get this right in the next administration, we are throwing open the floodgates to illegal immigration for the next 30 years in this country. Think of the message that you're sending. Because yes, it's 13,000 murderers, and it's tens of thousands of violent criminals in addition to the 13,000 murderers, but it's also millions upon millions of people who have come here, and some of them are good people, but that doesn't mean they have the legal right to be in the United States of America. We've got to separate those two things. And if the message that our country sends after 25 million illegal aliens coming into this country is, you get to stay here, you get to collect housing benefits, you get to collect welfare benefits, while folks in Western North Carolina are struggling to survive, we will never have a border in this country again. It's why we've got to elect Donald Trump. Send a message to these people, no more illegal immigration, no more open borders. Demand.
On the topic of illegal immigration, it's estimated that it costs this country $150 billion a year. So I'd like to hear where is that affecting the American people, and when that's solved, what can they expect to improve?
Yeah, Danny, it's affecting people in so many different ways. And I actually think that $150 billion may even be undercounting it. Because a lot of what that money is illegal aliens who collect welfare benefits in some form or another. So that's Section 8 housing. And take just one example. Let's say and I've seen this in communities that I represent in the state of Ohio, where you'll have multiple families living in the same house. Each of them gets Section 8. So they're able to pay way more than an American citizen who's just working at their job 40, 45, 50 hours a week. And so Americans are getting evicted from their homes to make way for illegal aliens who are only there because of the generosity of American taxpayers. That is one of the biggest ways it affects us, is it drives up the cost of housing, and it leads to a lot of people being unable to afford their homes. Here's another big way it matters. I don't know what the exact number in North Carolina is, but I learned in Michigan, 85,000 children of illegal aliens are in the Michigan public schools. And Michigan and North Carolina, probably about the same number, actually, here in the state of North Carolina. Well, what if that does to the poor public high school teacher who's just trying to give kids a good education, but all of a sudden they're dealing with classrooms that are full of people, they don't even speak the language. And again, it's nothing against those kids, it's saying something against Kamala Harris, who let those kids come in and deprive Americans of good education. Here's another big way that it matters, and this is something I know very personally. My mom struggled with addiction for a very long time. And my mom got clean and sober about 10 years ago. She'll actually celebrate 10 years clean and sober in January. And I thank you all for that. And I just know, please, that there is hope on the other side of addiction. There really is hope and recovery for all of those who are struggling with it or have families that do. But there's only hope if we give people a second chance. One thing I really worry about is when you talk about 100,000 Americans dying of fentanyl, and the fentanyl, of course, is brought in by the Mexican drug cartels, that's 100,000 kids that never get a second chance with their mom. That's 100,000 moms and dads that never get a second chance to become clean. This is destroying our country. And I happen to believe we've got the best people in the world, we've got the best country in the world, but we cannot allow Kamala Harris's broken leadership to continue to screw this up, or that's going to change. We've got great people, let's fix the broken leadership and get Kamala Harris out of there.
We all look forward to that. Our next question.
26 days.
26 days.
That's right.
26 days. The countdown is on.
It's going to happen.
Get voting. Vote early.
That's right.
Our next question comes from Haley.
Hello, thank you, Senator Vance, for being here.
Of course.
And thank you for taking questions, because you're doing a great job.
I've taken more questions in the past 15 minutes than Kamala Harris has the whole campaign, but you guys...
I'm a small business owner and a first-time voter, and I'm a hairdresser.
God bless you.
I was wondering how you were going to help... Oh, please. Oh, one day I want to start a family and own my own home, but with raising costs, I do not know if that will be able to happen. You have come come from humble beginnings. So what is your plan for creating more opportunities for people like me?
Yes, ma'am. Of course. Well, thank you for your question. It's an important one. And I will say, I think we got a question here, a question over here, and a question over here. I think I need a swivel chair the next time that we do an event like this.
You need to make us a lazy Susan.
That's right. That's
Been
right.
around.
Well, I think to answer your question, let's start by understanding where it's really important to understand the root causes of some of these problems. Why are things so expensive under Kamala Harris's leadership? And there are a whole host of things I can point to, but actually the most important is energy. Okay? So think about it like this. Groceries are 25% higher than they were 3.5 years ago. That's because the truck drivers are paying way more for diesel fuel, and it's the truck drivers who are getting the groceries to the grocery store. Our farmers are paying more for diesel, and of course they're the ones growing the food. And then finally, you think about building a house. Well, if all the people who are doing the building and delivering the materials are paying more for gas and more for energy, then that's going to raise the price of everything. So President Trump has this phrase, which I think is very simple, but it's also a genuinely specific policy. The most important thing we got to do to lower prices and make life more affordable is drill, baby, drill. We've got to unleash American energy. It really is so important. And it also, by the way, I admire you so much for doing what you do and having the courage to go out and do it on your own. It's not easy, but you ought to have a government that makes your life a little bit easier and makes it a little bit easier for you to get ahead instead of harder and harder to get ahead. I mean, think about this. You're a small businesswoman. You're building something that is creating prosperity, not just for you, but for your community. Of course, you provide a good service. I need a haircut right now, by the way, so I'll call you. But think about this. We have got two really different economic proposals from Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. You know, Kamala Harris's entire economic plan boils down to, we're going to raise taxes on American workers, and we're going to reward companies that ship jobs overseas. Donald Trump's vision is like the exact opposite. We're going to cut taxes for American workers. We're going to penalize folks who are shipping American jobs overseas. We want to reward people like you who are creating prosperity right here in the United States of America. But the one last thing I'd say, and I'd ask you to, I'm sure you've got, a lot of friends. You're clearly, like I said, you're a first-time voter, and I know that there are a lot of first-time voters who are still figuring this stuff out. What I really worry about, and I'm older than you, but I'm pretty young by the standards of national politics. I'm only 40. And one of the things I really worry about is the young generation in this country. They're growing up in a nation where they're going to become paupers in the country that their parents and their grandparents built. The American dream of homeownership, not being deep in credit card debt. I want you to own a piece of the future and not just be a permanent debtor to people and institutions that don't care about you and don't like you. I want you to own a slice of this country, and that's how we're going to create prosperity. Thank you.
Time to roll out.
The globalist view of own nothing and be happy is not what the Americans do.
Right. They want you to live in a pod, eat bugs, and own nothing, right? That is fundamentally, that's where their vision ultimately lands. I want you to own a nice house, be able to start a family, and build a great business in the United States of America. And that's what Donald Trump is fighting for every single day.
I tried cricket one time. I just couldn't wrap my head around eating crickets. I know they're high in protein, but...
I'm ashamed to admit it. I've also tried cricket. It is honestly more disgusting than you can possibly imagine. So don't eat the bugs. We want to eat red meat. We want to eat whatever we want to eat.
Yeah.
But no cricket.
I've somehow become a steak and potatoes girl, just like my dad always was.
Yeah,
He's like,
that's
Dad,
good.
where's the veggies? I'm like, where's the steak and potatoes?
That's right.
Kaylee, I'm also a first-time voter, I just want to say. I've never voted before,
that's
but
awesome.
this time
Good for
around,
you.
I have to vote. Yeah. It's that important.
I just want to be clear. I want to get on record. You're voting for us, right? You're voting for the good guys?
1,000%.
There we go.
If I could vote twice, I would.
We don't do that. We're Republicans. We vote legally. Only one time.
The way you vote twice is to bring a friend.
That's right.
Bring a friend.
That's a good point. Vote twice the legal way. Bring yourself and a friend to the polls. That's very good.
Speaking of energy, we became energy independent for the first time under Donald Trump's administration.
Right.
With AI requiring so much power to run it, and with wanting to become energy independent again, how long do you think it's going to take to be there again? And what is the pathway to that?
That's a very good question, because to your point, AI requires so much power that unless we have effectively unlimited power, we're not going to power the AI revolution. I mean, this is like crazy, space age stuff. Like, instead of going to a doctor to get your skin checked out, see that you can take a photo and it'll tell you whether you have cancer. Like, that's what the AI revolution is going to mean. That's going to mean more people living. That's going to mean cheaper medical costs, but only to your point, if we get those energy costs reasonable. You ask how long is it going to take to get energy independent? If Donald Trump is the president, it'll happen almost immediately because we've got so much energy here, we can do it. I mean, 2 years to get us back to where we were. Because, I mean, look, in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina, I mean, in Florida, we've got energy resources that the world would literally kill for. And in some cases, some of these countries have actually started wars over the resources we have. Kamala's entire policy is to buy oil and gas from tin-pot dictators all over the world. Let's buy it from American citizens right here at home and create a lot of good American jobs in the process. But look, if Kamala Harris wins, God forbid, I'm going to have nightmares now just for saying that. But I think it would take us 10 years after her administration, assuming she only got 4 years, it would take us 10 years to get us out of the hole that she would dig us into. That's how bad these guys are on energy. They've got it in their mind that they care about the environment, but they don't actually care about the environment. We believe in clean air and clean water in the Republican Party. We actually created a lot of the environmental protections that exist. You were on stage with Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy cares about the environment. Trust me, he does. But if you want clean air, you don't ship all of our manufacturing and energy to China, which is the dirtiest economy per unit of economic output in the world. You build more and make more in the United States of America. That's what President Trump will do.
Our next question comes from Patricia.
Good evening.
Now I really need that swivel chair, Patricia.
I've got your back.
Thank you. That's right.
I'm Pat, and I'm from Timberlake, North Carolina. And I'm a retired healthcare worker. And my question tonight is that it's about Social Security.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've seen ads and posts where Donald Trump is going to take away our Social Security or cut it or decrease it. But then I also see ads and posts that Donald Trump is planning to remove taxes on Social Security. Can you explain and describe and clarify yours and Donald Trump's Social Security?
Yes, ma'am. Well, first of all, and I'm sure I don't have to tell you this, but I'm going to stand up here because ma'am, I think you know this. I think a lot of us know this. Don't believe everything you see on TV because a lot of those things are paid for by Democrat money. It's dishonest. Here's what Donald Trump's going to do. He's going to protect Social Security, and he is going to cut taxes on Social Security income because our seniors, you paid into it for your whole lives. You ought to be able to enjoy the benefit of it on the other end. It's that simple. But here's something that really matters here, because you know what will bankrupt Social Security in this country? Giving it to illegal aliens. And that is exactly, this is what I think is so sick about what Kamala Harris is going out there doing. She is accusing us of doing the very same thing that she herself is promising to do. She wants to bankrupt this program, not by giving it to the people who paid into it, by giving it to people who don't even have the legal right to be in this country to begin with. And if you want our seniors to enjoy their Social Security, Donald J. Trump is the only candidate in this race that's going to protect it. Ma'am.
So I think it's safe to say that if you were in the administration for the last few years, you'd do some things different.
I think so. I think so.
I like that when Kamala speaks, we gain 100,000 votes. Is that the number?
You know, some of our interviews are so bad, maybe it's a couple 100,000 votes. But, you know, there's an interview that she gave a couple of days ago with The View.
Not exactly a hard-hitting one.
No. It's like, you know, the ultimate softball interview. But I guess it's tough if you can't even hit a T-ball, which I think is Kamala Harris in some of these interviews. But, you know, she was asked, and we have to back up for a second. Remember, the whole argument of her campaign is that she is different from Joe Biden. You would actually, in fact, you know, be forgiven for believing that she's not his sitting vice president, even though, of course, she is, because she's running so far away from it. And she cast the deciding vote on a lot of the worst policy. She has bragged about being the last person in the room when these decisions were made. So The View asked Kamala Harris a total softball. Would you have done anything differently from Joe Biden over the last 4 years? And Kamala Harris says, nothing comes to mind. It blew up the whole lie at the heart of her campaign in one interview answer. And I will say, though, when she says nothing comes to mind, that's probably true about whatever topic the answer is about. So I'm hardly the most obvious person to defend Kamala Harris, but maybe she was just being honest about her state of mind.
Shows she's a placeholder.
Exactly.
Didn't have any thoughts. We know that it would be different with you guys, and we know that you answer questions, and we love that. We love having someone in charge of our country that answers questions and that's going to get things done.
I appreciate that. Well, So I think this answering questions thing is actually kind of important because, look, I'm 40 years old. It's other than marrying this beautiful lady up here and raising our kids together, the greatest honor of my life is being your vice presidential nominee for the Republican Party. It's an incredible thing. It's an incredible honor to be able to do this. But think about this. I'm asking you all to make me your next vice president. That is an awesome thing, an incredible responsibility I'm asking for. You ought to go out and earn it and speak to the American people. Kamala Harris runs from the American people, and I think that shows a real defect of the kind of leadership skills you need to be the president of the United States in the first place. And I will tell you this story. So I guess this was a couple weeks ago. It was a Sunday, and I was sitting at home with our 7-year-old in Cincinnati, and I get a call, and it's the president. And I said, "Hey, sir, what's going on? How you doing?" And he said, "Well, they tried to do it again." And I said, "Well, they tried to do what again?" And it was the Sunday where a second assassination attempt happened on President Trump's life. He had just gotten from the golf course. And I, you know, like any friend, I immediately go to, you know, "How are you doing? Are you okay?" Like, obviously you're physically okay because you're calling me, but mentally that's a pretty traumatic thing to almost get shot a second time in as many months. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm fine." Because, you know, but the one thing is I'm kind of pissed off because I was going to make a birdie on the 6th hole and the Secret Service wouldn't let me finish.
It's a big deal. Birdies are hard.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a very good golfer, so I feel the same, you know, the same way. He's a hell of a lot better of a golfer than I am. I really care about those birdies, but then something kind of hit me that isn't the kind of person you want in emergency crisis situations in the Oval Office. You want the guy who isn't fazed by an assassination attempt. You don't want the woman who runs from a friendly American media. Like, there's something... You know, there's something about the way that Kamala Harris has run this campaign that I think is genuinely, to all Americans, Democrats, Independents, Republicans, is insulting. Because think about it, she's asking you to give her control over millions of American troops. Potentially, over the entire nuclear arsenal of the United States. She is asking for literally the authority to command life and death all over the world, and she won't even go out and talk to the American people in a non-friendly setting. We all should be insulted by that. I think it's a disgraceful way to run a campaign, and I hope we don't reward her, and I don't think that we will.
And just to wrap it up, since I know you'll answer any question.
Oh no.
I think you could share maybe what you did with your day off that you had a couple days ago and what your special secret skill is with the American people.
All right, well.
And be specific.
Okay, I will. Okay. Well, I was raised in a middle-class family. And that's the Kamala Harris answer to any question.
I forgot to laugh.
Yeah,
you forgot to laugh.
Right. Yeah, I forgot the awkward cackle afterwards. But okay. So I had half a day off on the campaign trail the other day, and because we're kind of in crunch time, so you don't really get much time off. But you'll probably be shocked to know this, that I'm a big baker. I really, I there's some bakers out there. So my 4-year-old and I, he's like my sous chef when we're baking. So we made, because I was going, because my wife and I are on the road for a couple days. They're actually, kids are at home right now with my aunt and uncle, and then we get back late tonight. So I made them breakfast treats for 3 days in a row. And so for the first day, they had homemade cinnamon rolls. The second day, they had dulce de leche rolls. And the third day, they had chocolate chip scones. So we did all that together. And, I'm not perfect, but I do have the talent of baking. So that's one thing I got going for me.
Fantastic. Well, we also spoke about the fact that you don't get to drive anymore. So if you got to drive yourself away from here tonight, what kind of car would you want to drive?
Oh, that is a tough question.
Any car.
Well, this just shows the phase of life I'm in. I would happily take my minivan right now and drive it because I don't have any ability to drive anything else. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
You gotta keep that. And they didn't. They fled. They left. We had, as you know, 18 months. I called up Abdul. Abdul is the head of the Taliban. That's the ones that do the shooting.
I almost gave up trying to get rid of bed bugs until I tried this. This is clove and cottonseed oil, and it eliminates bed bugs in your furniture.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Yeah, I've watched so many people get their legs broken.
Yeah.
And I see it in like jiu-jitsu videos all the time where someone's like going for a heel hook and then you hear this crack. And the guy screams in agony, and then everybody's like, oh, this is horrible.
Yeah, and the arm, there's the million arm wrestling videos.
Oh, I saw a guy and a girl arm wrestling. The guy broke the girl's arm. I'm like, what the fuck?
I was just like, how does that, because I don't want to do it ever again, really.
Arm wrestling?
No, I think it's stupid. But like for me to get often, but like even when I'm just like, well, why is this happening? And there was these two competitors, like pro arm wrestlers, were like, well, you never want to get away from your body. So the arms break once they're out here. So you always keep your arm in tight. Like, arms don't break when you're here.
Right.
But once you get extension, it's
the dumbest macho thing that we do.
For sure. I did it with you once.
Bro?
I did it with you. Remember?
No.
It was a horrifying experience. It was after we did a show in Louisville at the club. I think it was tied to like the UFC.
Okay.
One of those. It was
Yeah.
back in the day. And we went to a bar afterwards. We're shooting pool. Somebody said arm wrestling. And you're like, you want to do it? I was like, sure. Dude, I couldn't believe how strong you were. I mean, I know you're strong, but I was like, you're like, go. And I was like, I am going, dude. Like, I couldn't get any fucking movement.
Well, you're fucking that dude that works for you. That was the most
That
ridiculous.
was hilarious. That was.
Do you think he just does that because he just wants attention?
No, I think, I mean, there might be a little bit of that, but I really think that's Andy. He has this thing. It's probably just, you know, it's part of his wiring. It's probably gotten him somewhere in life in some ways where he just goes being delusional about I can't lose. Like if somebody says I can beat you, like I can't beat you. You're like, what are you talking about? And then when you were pulling up, I was like, why don't you fucking ask him? Because I already knew what was going to happen. And then he also loves to gamble. I was like, yeah, I'll take that action. So yeah, that's Andy.
But he's not even a strong guy. That's why I was so confused. I was looking at him, I'm like, you want to arm wrestle? Like, you're not even a strong guy. Like, you don't, like, there's probably a lot of things you can do better than me. But this one
you got. Yeah.
This is silly.
It is funny how our capacity for delusion is just incredible.
It can serve you well. It can. If you get lucky, right?
Yeah, I think the two things I think about, one of my friends was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and he found out at stage 4, right? Like, had to go to a hospital, like, because his wife was like, you're fucking sweating, and you're, you know, heavy breathing. It was after one of my shows. And so they go, and then the next day, they're like, stage 4 lung cancer. And all the doctors were like, you know, say goodbye to your friend, you know? And his brother found the expert, like in this specific type of, because, you know, there's in oncology, like really specialized types of cancer and treatment. And I remember talking to him, and he was like, you know, I'm going to beat this thing. And I was looking at him, and I was like, you're so stupid, you know, like you're definitely gonna die. And but the thing is, I saw that he
believed it,
1,000% believed it.
Yeah.
And as he got better, I was like, this guy's fucking delusion is serving him in this. Like, I think most people, like, I remember when my uncle got a mesothelioma, and he was like a high level urologist at the Mayo Clinic. And I remember when I was talking to my dad about it, he was like, yeah, he's too smart he can read the labs. He knows what he has. Like, he's too smart to go like, I'm going to beat this thing. You know what I mean? Like, you're just so well versed.
But is it a delusional thing, or has that guy had other success in life because he's just super determined?
I mean, he's certainly a determined guy and successful in what he does. But what's up, Big Head Steve? I'm talking about you.
Yo, Big Head Steve.
Yo, Big Head. But I really was like, I credited this guy's, like, it felt like a level of delusion to believe you were going to survive.
But
this.
if he's correct, and he was correct, then it's not delusional.
Correct, yes.
Right,
but you
which
always,
is kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy.
The doctors were like, you're dead. And what if he just decides I'm dead, and he starts freaking out, or maybe he goes to Oregon and gets assisted suicide?
And so many people go down that path, right? Like, but you're right.
They're whacking people left and right up in Canada.
Yeah.
If you're depressed, like, you're not feeling good, come on in.
Sign up.
Fucking sign up for the program. We'll get rid of you. They'll just kill you.
In Europe, in the Netherlands, don't they do that? Somewhere
I don't
else.
know. I'm sure it's other countries, but it's a recent thing in Canada where they just whack people.
I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah. See, Google it, because it's something you'll actually find on Google. It's like, it's assisted suicide in Canada.
The other delusion that because I just watched the Scott Peterson.
Is that the Lacey Peterson?
Yes.
So is that one? Is the new one where people are saying maybe he didn't kill her?
No, it's essentially it's fantastic. It's on Netflix. I think it's a 3-part docuseries, and it begins with, because, you know, it's like this reminder. It was 20 years ago,
right?
You know, time just, you're like, oh shit.
What was that story? How did that one?
So
go?
that one,
Canada's controversial medically assisted death program is fastest growing in the world. Since suicide became legal in Canada, the number of deaths has grown each year. So this is August, so this is just last month. So what is it saying in terms of the numbers? most recent data shows 13,241 people in 2022. Wow.
That's quite a jump.
That's a jump, bro. So 2022 is 13,000. Who knows what 2023 and 2024 is?
Oh, man.
So they're whacking people up there.
That's pretty
wild.
wild.
Feeling good? Get in. Come on in.
I'm in.
Come on. Your foot hurt?
My leg hurts.
I just, get in here. Fuck life.
Yeah.
Fuck life.
That's a great tap out fucking option.
It's great. I mean, what is this? Is this like, is it a kind of eugenics? Like, what is it? Like, what is it? I mean, you could say it's being compassionate. And in some cases, like Michael Lair, he went to Oregon.
Yes.
But Michael Lair his body was failing so horribly. He couldn't talk anymore.
That was ALS?
Yes.
Wasn't that the same thing that was ravaged what was the famous woman that it was a huge international case here? Do you remember? Terry Schiavo? Was it Terry Schiavo?
I don't know if she had the same thing.
But she had this horrible, debilitating
disease. And you're
that
still alive. And at the end, it kept getting worse and worse. It wasn't getting better, so he went to Oregon to do it. And he actually went to Oregon once and changed his mind and came back.
And when you sign up for that in Canada, can you just go like, that's just what I want? Doesn't matter?
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are, but I know that some people are very upset about it because you're taking people that maybe you could talk them off the ledge.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have got better. Maybe with some love and some friendship and some counseling and some therapy.
That they wouldn't take that option.
Yeah, maybe they'd be happy.
Yeah.
I've known quite a few people that have taken their own life.
Yeah, I know a few that have done it too. And it's always super sad. I mean, because I don't know anybody that's done it, with the exception of Michael. I don't know anybody that's done it in the case of
like a medically assisted. No, Michael's the only one that I know about that. But there's Brody.
Yeah,
Brody was a hard one. There's my friend Tony, who's a pool player up in San Francisco. He jumped off the bridge.
Yeah,
which is crazy. There's a spot where everybody goes.
Yeah, one of my college when I had jobs. I worked when I was in college. I worked the whole time. I had part-time jobs. And one of my coworkers did. It was fucking terrible, man. And, our boss went to his apartment, found him there. It was terrible.
Yeah. For some people, they don't think it's ever going to get better.
I know.
And and if you don't have support around you, you don't have someone that can pick you up. And it's crazy how someone can pick you up. It's crazy how you could be just feeling like total, complete shit. And someone who cares about you can come over your house, take you out, have some laughs.
Yeah.
And you're like, I think I feel better.
Yeah.
We feel better around people.
And
some people are super isolated too.
That's the dangerous one. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things I realized as I got older is you don't realize how many people are lonely in this world.
Right.
Like you get older, I'm saying, because you encounter more people, and you talk to people who, you realize you have this full life that you could take for granted, like your family, your friend, all these things going on, and then you meet people who they don't have it, and they're alone. And
there's a lot of those.
There's a lot of people that are alone.
Well, there's also this internet culture too, right? So there's people that don't have actual physical contact with anyone, so all their interaction is with people online.
And so it's a dark place too.
They're streaming all day and chatting all day on Instagram and jerking off, and it's madness.
Yeah, that's not a path to fulfillment. Is isolated online.
No.
And also, you don't. Sometimes I don't have it to that degree, but you're online for a while on something, and then you go into the real world, and you're like, oh yeah, I was just living in this make-believe place.
Right.
You don't realize it's not real.
Right. You live in this make-believe place, and you're not having any of the normal human contact that we thrive on.
Right.
All your contact is like this weird, displaced, not connected. It's all weird. Which is like if you go to someone's Twitter profile and you see that they're online 12 hours a day, just fucking barking at people. Like a dog.
And it's giving them some charge.
Yeah. It's like an annoying dog next door.
And they're just baiting people all day.
Speaking of baiting, did you watch the debate? Yeah. This episode is brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Dogs are amazing. They're loyal. They're lovable. Just having Marshall around can make my day 10 times better. I'm sure you love your dog just as much, and you want to do your best to help them live longer, healthier, happier lives. And a healthy life for your dog starts with healthy food, just like it does for us. There's a reason having a balanced diet is so important. So how do you know if your dog's food is as healthy and as safe as it can be? Well, Farmer's Dog gives you that peace of mind by making fresh, real food developed by board-certified nutritionists to provide all the nutrients your dog needs. And their food is human grade, which means it's made to the same quality and safety standards as human food. Very few pet foods are made to this strict standard. And let's be clear, human grade food doesn't mean the food is fancy. It just means it's safe and healthy. It's simple, real food from people who care about what goes into your dog's body. The Farmer's Dog makes it easy to help your dog live a long, healthy life by sending you fresh food that's pre-portioned just for your dog's needs. Because every dog is different. And I'm not just talking about breeds. From their size, to their personality, to their health, every dog is unique. Plus, precise portions can help keep your dog at an ideal weight, which is one of the proven predictors of a long life. Look, no one, dog or human, should be eating highly processed foods for every meal. It doesn't matter how old your dog is. It's always a great time to start investing in their health and happiness. So, try the Farmer's Dog today. You can get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Tap the banner or visit this episode's page to learn more. Offer applicable for new customers only. Bro,
I forgot.
Let me tell you, before I say anything, I just want to say, whoever's helping her, whoever's coaching her, whoever's the puppet master running the strings,
Yeah.
you did a fucking amazing job.
She did a great job.
They did an amazing job from the moment Biden drops out, forcing Biden to drop out. Right, whatever they're doing, whoever's writing those speeches, getting her to deliver them, coaching her, she's nailing it. She nailed that one speech. She's like, "Say it to my face."
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's cheering.
Yeah, she nailed it, dude.
And then last night, to me, when I was like, oh my God, this is jujitsu, where she was like, if you go to his rallies, his crowds are boring, they're tired,
They're
they
all
all
leaving
leave
early.
her. My crowds are the best crowds.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
the number one
Yeah.
crowd. He couldn't help himself.
And she got him. She baited him on that. She walked him right into it.
100%. 100%. See, the difference in that debate was not a difference in like who's going to have better policies, who's going to be better for the country. The difference in the debate, in my opinion, was who was better prepared. She was way better prepared.
Yeah.
And even when it came to answering tough questions, instead of answering, she would just say things that she believes.
Yes, sure.
And they sounded real good.
Yeah, that's
the soundbite.
That's called being a savvy politician.
It's also called being someone who's working with a team versus someone who's like, they said Trump, that deal was the best deal. They've never seen a deal like this before. They said, how did you put that deal together?
People said that was just brilliant. Yeah, I know. It's like
he's not working with a team that's like, I mean, I know he's doing like mock debates. I know he did one with one with Tulsi Gabbard, but someone needs to like tell him like you've got these tiny little windows and you should have all the words ready for those windows.
He started
there should be
out
no repeating things.
Yeah, he started out strong.
Yeah,
because out of the gate, everybody can't help but get in their own way who they are, right? And for him, it's like, okay, don't get fucking crazy. Like, I'm sure, thing is like, don't say wild shit.
Don't say people are eating cats.
Eating cats and dogs. And, they're fucking coming in here eating all our pets. And, you just watch it and you're watching this thing, you're like, what? And this is fucking insane. And then for her, they're just basically like, don't laugh like a stripper. Like how you every time you come to a podium, you're like,
well, that's their
fucking
panic.
calm down.
It's a move that like comics will do when their material's not that good. They laugh.
They laugh through it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then you remember, this is somebody like take away your politics or whatever you believe. This is a former prosecutor. It's a trainable person, right? If you're a prosecutor, you can get the information and regurgitate it.
She's not dumb by any stretch. See, people want to say she's dumb because she's not good off the cuff when pressure's on her. But you don't understand what that kind of pressure's like. Like the kind of pressure that lady has been under for the last, let's just think about the pressure she's been under for the last 4 years as being vice president. Everybody hates her.
Yeah.
A lot of gaffes, a lot of dumb things. So every time she's saying something, in the back of her head, she's like, don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
They're going to come for you. They're going to use this against you. Don't say, did you just fall out of a coconut tree?
Yeah.
Don't say that one again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so there's that kind of pressure. So
a lot of pressure.
very hard off the cuff. But when you give her time and prepare her, like last night.
It's a good showing for her, for sure.
Very, very good showing. And unfortunately for him, like the thing that he does that it's just, like, he can do it better than anybody alive is just riff. He can go out there and have a crowd of people and just... And he's funny, man. He does things about, like, he did an Elon impression the other day. It was hilarious.
He's very funny.
He's killing.
He
kills like a comedian.
Who don't like the guy still will have to acknowledge that he's funny.
He's funny.
Yeah.
He's funny like a comic.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like we don't necessarily want that as the guy with his finger on the button. That's all it is.
Sure.
That's the thing that freaks people out. But the policies that he had when he was in... The thing is, everyone's saying he's going to be a dictator. Well, he wasn't a dictator. He was the president. He actually was the president for 4 years. And the economy really did well. And he really did try to cut some of the bullshit down that's going on in this country.
Yeah.
And who knows what would have happened if he had 4 more years. Maybe we would have been economically better off, even if you don't like that one person to be like the figurehead of the country that you identify with because you live here. You don't want to identify with this guy that you think is blustery and, you know.
Well, the thing is, he's going to, you know, we have like 55 days or something. And the thing that's really going to happen now is I think he realizes when she first was announced, I'm sure most people I saw from who were like, he's just going to destroy her. Like,
right.
I didn't think she was even going to have a chance. But now you realize this is going to be, I believe, a much closer race.
It's close as fuck. She's probably ahead now. After last, like, what is the late? I saw the Fox News poll. It's hilarious. Fox is like 90% Trump won.
Yeah.
They're eating cats. I saw.
No,
I saw on Facebook.
Killing newborn babies.
By the way, I think they're eating cats.
Yeah.
I think some people are eating cats.
Sure.
I think you get a bunch of poor people that are from an island where they occasionally eat cats.
Yeah.
And you throw them in a city where there's 50,000 people. You throw 20,000 people in there, and there's ducks at the pond. I'm gonna go get a duck if I'm hungry.
Well, my fucking son took one out of there, so he grabbed it by the neck. So yeah, I would not believe a
Yeah, dude. If I was starving, if I just came from another country and there's ducks laying around, I'd grab a duck.
Sure. I don't think it's that crazy.
That's not their fault. Like, how the fuck did they get here? How'd you get 20,000 shipped to one town? Like, what is that?
No, it's...
What's the real story behind that? Is that organized?
The immigration issue is a legit, real issue in this country. It's in our state, too. You know?
It's a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean...
A lot of it in California, a lot of it in Arizona. But it's a real issue. And look, you and I are both the products of immigration. Immigration is fucking awesome. But hey, maybe when they do stuff that's bad, you should put them in jail. Like, hey, maybe you should use the same laws on them. Hey, maybe. If, we should check to see if they're murderers before they come across the board.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe.
I know.
Hey, maybe.
It's they just turned, I mean, this current administration just was like, oh yeah, we should. Just recently.
Do you think, recently, I think they're also flying people in, which is crazy. But recently, I think it's because they want people that are on the fence. You know, the people that are on the fence, because this is not
all that plays to.
Yeah,
it's all that matters.
But once they're in again, if they're in again, they'll probably do the same thing. Because what you're doing is you're essentially changing states that are swing states into blue. Because if you're going to give these people money and debit cards and food stamps and let them come in, and they're even talking about gender reassignment surgeries.
Yeah, I heard this. Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know
Find out if that's true. Because that's part of the problem with this whole people are eating cats. It's like you don't fucking know what's true anymore.
That's
but if you just read things on the internet or you hear things on the radio, who fucking knows what's true?
Which is why, like, because a lot of people were also, you know, talking about the moderators interjecting a bunch, right?
Yes.
But like, part of that, I mean, feels like you kind of need some of that interjecting because otherwise things are just said and you have zero idea.
100%.
I mean, the big one to me of like this is why you need to have somebody interject at times is when he said to her, like, you went and negotiated with Zelensky and Putin, and then blah, blah, and then just moves on. Well, if you're a regular person at home, you know, you work and you take care of your family, you don't know the ins and outs of diplomacy and what's happening internationally. You hear that, you just go, oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
So you kind of have to have somebody go, wait a minute, you didn't negotiate with Putin. She's never met him.
Right. Harris told ACLU in 2019 she supports cuts to ICE funding and providing gender transition surgery to detained migrants.
Yeah, and
that is crazy.
Yeah, and also
that's just September 9th.
She's gonna do what politicians do, which she's in the midst of this right now.
Yeah,
which is just going. Yeah, I've changed on that. She did it like 5 times last night alone. Like, didn't you say this? She's like, yeah, I changed. I'm now this. Like,
that's a good thing.
Yeah,
people can change. This idea of flip-flopping when you learn more information, no, stick to your guns.
No.
Stupid shit you first believed in.
You can evolve and
stay
change.
that forever.
Yeah.
That's dumb. Yeah, you definitely could evolve and you could be wrong. And that's part of being a good leader is recognizing you're wrong and correcting your course. That's all good. What is going on with the earrings?
The earrings?
Do you know about this, the earring controversy?
No.
Okay. So there are people that believe that what she was wearing last night was the type of earring that they use for it's an earpiece. Like you can talk through it.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would she have to? I
so
saw
someone
it
can
too.
talk to her.
I know,
so someone can coach her.
They have better earpieces than.
Well, no, Jamie. They want one that looks like a fucking earring so you can just wear it. Duh. Like if you have one that looks like an earpiece, like if Trump had one right through the bullet hole.
This is definitely going to take off if they're already saying this.
Yeah. Well, it looks.
Going on Twitter all the
But here's the thing: it does look exactly like the ones that they use for what they're called Nova earphones.
Okay.
So there's a video. I'll send you the video. But there's a video of this thing in action. It's pretty fucking interesting because. In the video, they're showing that these little earphones, like it's a commercial, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So, is the actual ear?
See if you can find.
If you have the real thing, do you wear it as an earring?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you wear it as an earring. God damn it! Did I save it? I might have saved it on Twitter or on Instagram. But it's find it. There's a video. It's kind of cool. Look, it's cool because I like all that spy espionage type shit. It's fucking interesting. But if she really did do that, first of all, if she didn't do that, bring those earrings, allow them to be investigated, please.
Sure.
Just the ones that you wore. We'll trust you. Take those, because you can't really get a pair made that aren't those.
Right.
If you have them, so this is what it looks like. So there's a different commercial that I saw. It's pretty cool. So these are earrings.
Niche Direct Admissions is a simpler path to college. High school seniors get accepted by over 100 participating colleges immediately based on your niche profile. No long application, no waiting, and you could even get a scholarship. Learn more at directadmissions.com.
But they're actually earphones. So you listen to music, all kinds of shit. Or you could have people give you instructions and say, hey, make fun of the crowds. Make fun now's the time.
Right.
Make fun of smile. He's talking about eating cats.
Yeah,
don't get mad. Don't cackle. So these are actual earphones.
No, those are really cool.
Crazy.
Yeah, I did not realize that.
And so that's exactly what the ones looked like that she was wearing.
Well, that'll be a new thing to run with.
Yeah, fun times.
These next 55 days are going to be.
Yeah, they're going to be bonkers, man.
I forgot how crazy it gets. Just the energy and chaos.
Oh my god! Every time I go on Twitter, I get fucking anxiety. I just send it to you, Jamie. You can see the comparison side by side of the two of them.
Yeah, it's gonna be nutty, dude. Yeah. And then when we get into November, it's my fucking
terrifying. God. I'm just scared that someone's gonna do something really stupid. Some extremists on either side that really do believe you're gonna take away the trans kids, or really do believe you're gonna destroy the country from the inside. So that's what it looks like.
Okay.
Real fucking similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, real fucking similar. I don't know, I don't know if that's what she's wearing. She might have just been wearing earrings. But if they have the kind of technology like that for regular people, and you could do that, and most people aren't aware of it, you can get it off because the ABC people aren't aware of it.
Sure.
Sneak it in, baby.
Yeah, that'd be rad.
It's fun.
I'd respect it so much.
I do wherever you stand, politically left or right, you got to respect what she did last night. She did a great showing. She did a great job.
She did.
But it just, whoever's pulling the strings, what a masterful job of propaganda they've done, taking someone that they all agreed was not a good vice president.
Yeah.
Was the least popular vice president.
Nobody even fucking knew anything about her. Nothing.
Bro, everybody made fun of her. Even like Joe Scarborough was talking about her. She's like a problem for the ticket.
Sure.
And now you look, and she's like neck and neck with him. Is she ahead of him today? The whole thing's so nuts, man. But Taylor Swift's on her side. So
Taylor Swift's on her side. It's going to come down in these key states to just county by county. It's going to be like, where you're going to, hour to hour, you're going to see this county turn in, and it's red, and it goes up, and then blue county, it's really going to be in PA, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Nevada, Arizona.
Mail-in ballots.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be crazy.
I still think it's so crazy that a lot of the developed world has Saturday elections. It's like
should be.
Yeah, it's where people are.
Yeah, you don't have work.
Yeah, it's just fucking crazy.
It's ridiculous. Most people have to work. And also vote in person with the fucking ID. We just got through 3 fucking years of you have to have a vaccine passport in order to get food.
Right, and you don't have to show your ID.
You have to be able to show an ID and show that you're vaccinated to get on an airplane. We just got through that. Yeah. And now all of a sudden it's racist to say that you want voter ID.
No, I think it's insane.
There's only one reason to do it that way. There's 2 things that are going on simultaneously. You're letting in literally millions of people. Millions of people, and you're giving them all these services.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay, however much. There's all this talk about they gave them money, and there was, all these stories about people getting debit cards and food stamps and all this money, and then they're putting them up in hotels in New York City, and they're giving them free food. And then there's people that are poor that live in America. They're like, hey, why am I not getting that?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? Well, because they already have your vote. They've already tricked you into voting specifically for this one party.
Yeah.
So now, if you bring in millions and millions of people, and then the same people that want to bring these people in, or that are allowing their policies that are allowing these people to come in, are the same people that think voter ID is racist. Like, you're racist saying voter ID is racist.
I
by
agree.
The way.
Yeah.
Because you're saying that these people are too stupid to get a fucking driver's license.
Yeah.
Everybody has a goddamn driver's license.
That's true.
What are you saying?
I know.
What are you saying? Like, voter ID is racist?
Yeah, our system is really
crazy.
Yeah. And so are like the county drawings that they do for districts. The gerrymandering. Like they're like, oh, and you look at the graph, and it's just to engulf a part of a district that doesn't make sense to include it in. All this is manipulation.
Well, there's also how many seats is dependent upon how many people are in your county. And the more people you import into your county, the more you can change the demographics.
These county lines make no sense half the time when you look at them, when you study the way that they're attributed.
You gotta fucking give the Democrats credit for the manipulation. I mean, they did everything every time they've had a hurdle. Like, they moved Bernie off the fucking primaries. They fucked him.
Yeah.
Then it comes to the whole thing with RFK. They fucked him. Fuck you. Fuck Tulsi. Fuck you. Everybody's out. They've done, and right in front of everybody's face. And yet all these people are like, yay, save democracy. Are you not seeing what's going on? Are you not seeing, if the same people with the same ideas played fair, if the same people with the same ideas played fair, we have a different thing. We have a different thing. And then we can get back to people disagreeing about policy, disagreeing about plans.
We're far from that, though.
We're so far from that.
Yeah.
We're so far from that people don't even give a fuck about what the policy is. They're just committed to their side. And anything their side does that's kind of fucked up or twisted, or they'll gaslight you on it, then they'll say it's not that big of a deal, and then they'll tell you it's good that that's happening.
Of course, you fully justify it.
Somebody had a great tweet about the eating pets thing. Here, it's one of those things where I read it, and I'm so happy that we live in a time of the internet, because the internet is so fun, because there's so many regular people out there in the world that are so fun.
Yeah, they are.
So this dude's name is Nick Freitas. And Green Beret, combat veteran. So, but look at his tweet that I sent you, Jamie. I can't believe this is a topic. The left, no one is eating people's pets, which means we're 1 week away from why do you care that people are eating pets, 3 weeks from why eating pets is a good thing, and 4 weeks from refusing to eat pets is white supremacy.
No, he's got it. He fucking nailed it. He nailed it.
It's just like we live in such a mad, mad world.
Yeah. And if you... It's like, this is entertaining, too, to read this. But also, if you lose yourself in these, like, back and forths online, you lose your fucking mind.
Oh, you lose your fucking mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people losing their mind. It's just... I don't engage in it. I know you don't either. It's a bad way to communicate with people. It's a bad way. It's bad for your health. I really believe that. I think it's bad for your mental health.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know if he still does this, and I've heard other people do this, but I remember when DeStefano told me that he was like a year or so ago, he's like, it's fucking with my, like, happiness.
Yeah.
And then he gave somebody his login stuff. He's like, I don't want it. You have it.
Yeah.
I'll just send you things to post, but I'm never gonna. I don't even have my own login.
Ari did that for a while too.
Yeah.
Right before the Kobe thing. He got back online and immediately went bad.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But it's not good for anybody, and that's why I am absolutely addicted to looking at things on my phone. I'm addicted to watching YouTube. I'm addicted to stories, just looking at stories on Google, and a lot of it is nonsense, but a lot of it is super interesting science stuff. I get a lot of super interesting science stuff all day, and people send me super interesting stuff.
Productive stuff.
But not you and me.
Well, you and me have a bad thing going.
We have a bad thing. You and me, our text, which is what I was going to get to, our text message chain is the fucking worst thing on the internet.
It's so dark. People go, hey, because they hear about it, and they go, include me, and I go, you mean to ruin your fucking life? You want your whole algorithm to be just the darkest?
Yeah, this is mine and Tommy's thing. But the darkest things we find. And
my algorithm is a confusing...
Oh yeah, it's a mess.
Like, it's confusing, it's dark, semi-erotic, and it's just the most peculiar... Like, there's also, I just can't help with all the censorship that has become, it's so prevalent. It's one of the big topics of the last 5 years. I still don't understand why I get to watch murders.
All day long.
I mean...
All day long.
I get to see on my Instagram executions, a lot of Russian car accidents and manufacturing mishaps, like people getting electrocuted, hit by trains.
Yep.
And straight up just gun to the head, just like hitmen.
Yeah.
I've seen on closed circuit TV where you're like, this is cool, but like, I don't know, a girl's tit isn't, and somebody leaving a comment that is like
misgendered someone.
Yeah, like the language is that person's account gets fucking banned, but I can see this guy get his head fucking blown off.
Right.
Why? It doesn't add up at all.
Well, that was why the old Twitter was weird, because they had hardcore porn. There was always hardcore pornography, but if you misgendered someone, you'd be banned for life.
Yeah. That doesn't add up at all. It's always been this thing in America, like one of the big European versus American differences is that, we always had this
Meet Asana, a work management platform that helps companies get more done and save more time. Teams can stay connected while they track updates and visualize timelines. Asana, a smarter way to work. Try it for free today at asana.com.
This holier than thou reaction to the naked body and to just sex in general, right? Like there's a topless person or a lovemaking scene, and people are like, either this is NC-17 or
right.
But we can have someone like a grenade in a guy's mouth, and then and they're like, yeah, well that's on fucking TNT today.
Well,
like,
how is it getting through Instagram filters?
I don't.
Because I asked you this like a couple months ago, because I'm not on TikTok. I'm like, did you see that when you sent me something particularly disturbing? I was like, okay, is this on TikTok too?
I've seen crazy shit there as well. I do know that the go around on Instagram seems to be just in your caption. So if you notice, if you look at the caption,
a lot of time it's like 2024 Mercedes-Benz AMG. That's an amazing off-road vehicle.
Because they figured out that the censors and the algorithm doesn't watch the video.
Right.
It's like if you were to write, here is a guy getting hit by a truck and his fucking head comes off in your caption, that thing would get taken down. But if you're like, check out the new fucking 2024 MDX or whatever it's called,
but here's the
then
question:
they go,
where is the money? How are they making money?
That's good. I don't know.
Because whoever's putting these
have to
videos
follow
up,
the money. Yeah.
These are accounts from bots. So
Yeah.
if you look at the accounts, there's no real comments and real things that anybody's saying with that account. And then this account might have thousands of these videos.
Yeah, and the war footage, the drone footage,
Oh,
is
God.
just like.
I saw one yesterday where this drone, the kamikaze drone, was coming after these guys, and they were shooting at it with AKs, and they couldn't take it down. The thing was evading the bullets, and then finally it moved into the guy, threw his AK at it, and it blew up. It saved his life.
Really?
He threw his fucking rifle at the drone as it was coming to swoop, because they dive on you and blow up.
I think being able to see those, I will say this, gives you like a very sobering perspective on modern day war.
Yeah.
Because that's obviously, that wasn't a thing in Vietnam or World War II. You see it, but like the fact that you see these guys out in a field, whatever side they're on. I'm just talking about the reality of these human beings run, and then this fucking drone with a camera is chasing them down.
Yeah.
And it can just blow it.
This is the first time that's ever happened in war.
It's fucking
the first time we've ever had drones that chase people.
Yeah, I'd seen, obviously I'd heard of and knew about drones that are like basically satellites, that fly.
Right.
They're like planes, and they lock in on a location and fire a missile.
Right.
But these little tiny ones that just chase people and blow up. I mean,
they're suicide bombers.
Yeah.
It's really.
It's super disturbing.
Guys are going into the trenches with GoPros on. Like, I watched this one where this Russian guy killed these Ukrainian guys that were in they were in a trench, and he's like got a